am Doomsvince, and this is day 118 of Spawn Year.
This is the most fun comic book I've read this year, or at least it might have been had it not inspired Doomsvince to impose an idiotic list of arbitrary rules he wants me to follow now. Captain Logan may only do push-ups on Tuesdays and Thursdays and sit-ups on Mondays and Wednesdays. Captain Logan shall not use the word serendipitous between days 126 and 139 of Spawn Year. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me discuss the comic for a moment. Sam and Twitch number 14 is a standalone story, almost more of a cute comedy sketch really, called Dumb Laws and Eggs. At about the time this comic came out, I remember some of my friends in junior high going around and reading a list from dumblaws.com about ridiculous, outdated, and unenforced US laws still technically on the books. And apparently Bendis also heard about that website and decided to devote a whole issue to it. Twitch actually cites dumblaws.com as the source he's reading from. A lot of the issue is clever banter between Sam and Twitch about the absurdity of some of these laws, and Bendis gets several pages of good comedy mileage out of it. Bendis lists over a dozen of the laws, which are all funny by themselves, but it isn't just a couple guys laughing at something they found on the internet. Sam's reactions are great, and I chuckled out loud more than once. And let me tell you, it's nice to laugh at something during Spawn Year for once that's actually intended to be funny. Some of those laws I read about in junior high came rushing back to me as I read this, and I was tickled when Sam commented on my favorite pair of contradictory laws. In New York City, a woman can lawfully go out in public topless, but another law says she may not wear tight-fitting clothing. And then KC overhears this and says, it's a man's world. I also love Sam's reaction to, a man can't go outside while wearing a jacket and pants that do not match, and he says, then I'm effed all day. Bendis doesn't perpetuate any heavy-handed morals with these exchanges, though there is perhaps a subtle sense of police who believe in the law struggling with occasional absurdities and inconsistencies within an imperfect criminal justice system. It is, after all, inherently funny listening to cops discussing these laws, which they could enforce, I guess, if they wanted to, which actually would probably be the quickest way to get some of those rules off the books. Bendis also gets more ongoing character development in here for Sam to make this issue more relevant for loyal readers beyond just a throwaway comedy story, which admittedly it otherwise kind of is. Sam is experiencing the phenomenon of fleeting fame and having difficulty not letting it bother him, though he knew it would come and thinks it should be easier for him when he finds his book in a $1.98 bargain bin. Twitch isn't impatient or condescending and reminds his friend that his accomplishments are no less valid as the public at large moves on to the next hero of the hour. And this wouldn't be Sam and Twitch without a murder. That's where the eggs come in, found on top of a dead man whose wife clearly shot him after a long history of domestic disputes, according to neighbors. Though almost certainly an open and shut case, she refuses to say anything as she's being arrested. I like when Twitch says, you have the right to remain silent, and Sam says, I think she knows that. It's not a mystery, but a payoff for the comical, continuing dialogue about the stupid laws. In particular, Sam and Twitch can't figure out why it was ever a law that women aren't allowed to wear patent leather shoes. Finally, when she hears this, the suspect speaks up with the answer, because they didn't want men to be able to see the women's panties in the shiny leather. And Sam ends the issue with, you learn something new every day. It was stupid, but we learned it. We're never definitively told what the eggs are about, but if I had to take a stab in the dark, and there's not enough detail to make a determination, so this is really a guess, I'd wager the husband was a womanizer, treating his wife like a second-rate homemaker. The eggs might be representative of his possible stereotypical the woman belongs in the kitchen attitude, which connects to KC's it's a man's world statement, and the traditional conservative and modest expectations of women the silly no-leather shoes law would have been a product of. Again, not a story so much as an anecdote, but I was really enjoying it until Doomsvince had to ruin it for me. I suppose I can't expect 14 days, 2 full weeks of solidly good comics without paying for it somehow. Now, I don't know the penalty for not observing any of these rules, but I can't take any chances. I have plenty Doomsvince can take from me, my quill, my comics for review, So now I can't stand on one foot at any time, that shouldn't be too hard, or sing parodies of the Gilligan's Island theme, didn't like that one, huh? Or mention American presidents before the year 1812, okay, and I must contemplate the implications of my past transgressions daily, done, and smile and wave whenever Doomsvince appears, oh jeez, really? And I must clap my hands together twice immediately following every review. Well, at least he hasn't decreed I must start eating popsicles. Signed, Captain Logan. P.S. Wait a minute. I thought that issue was short. There's a backup feature after the letters pages? Explaining the egg thing? Okay, so the guy just gets sick of his wife complaining about how much she hates eggs, cracks an egg on her face, and leaves her. Then after he thinks he's rid of her, she snaps, comes back, and kills him. So much for my theory about traditional gender roles and sexism. I guess it's literally separately dumb laws and eggs. Anyway, excuse me. I have to finish this popsicle and try not to picture strung-up child murderers.